I keep 3 different species of python, and I've noticed that they all climb slightly differently with varying degrees of ability. And that makes me look at vertically oriented objects and think, will my snakes climb that? And if so, how will they do it? So we're going to take a look at 3 very athletic snakes from all 3 species of the Pythonidae family that I have here in the green room, and we're going to find out if they'll climb stuff and how will they do it. Also, to be honest, there's just been a lot of requests for more climbing footage in my videos, so here you go. Welcome to the green room. I'm Bob Bledsoe. This is the inspector, and we're actually going to look at 4 snakes today because the inspector is not included in the head-to-head. We're going outside for some of that, and the inspector gets a little bit nervous when he's outside, so I don't want to put him in that situation. But I do want to see in just a minute here if he'll climb this ladder. He's never been on the ladder before, but he's a climber, and I just kind of want to see what he'll do in real time here. Anyway, that's Kent behind the camera. I'll show you how to climb. Put that snake away and I'll go climb a tree right now. No, you won't, Kent. Your lack of climbing ability is how you repeatedly failed gym class. It wasn't a lack of ability. I didn't trust the rope manufacturer. It looked faulty. The inspector's a little bit squirrely right now, so I'm just going to put him on here and we'll see what happens. We may end up speeding up this part, or he might just, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Or maybe I'll just cut this whole thing. I don't know. I want to sort of lead him. Okay, there we go. See, at this point, he doesn't even know whether he should go up or down or whatever. He just needs to kind of explore a little bit. This is something that the ball pythons do a little bit. A lot of times they'll just kind of fling their body up on something and pull themselves up. But they also do this where they'll go in between the ladder. They like that pressure of the ladder on their back. And then being able to feel the entire wall on their front. But since he hasn't been on the ladder before, I don't even think he's noticing that there's stuff behind him that he can grab onto. So I might put him on there just to see what happens. In fact, I am, because right now he's just really into feeling that the door on his entire body. So what I want to do is just show him that he's got this other option. Hey buddy, look at this. Okay, yeah, just wrap yourself around. Sure. But here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to narrate. We're just going to speed up this footage and we'll see what happens. How's that? So this is me not narrating the snake. You'll notice I'm just standing there watching the snake without narrating what the inspector's doing. I'm watching him intently. Adjusting the camera. I adjusted the camera there. And then I'm looking up. I've adjusted it again. A number of camera adjustments. And then of course you can see my forehead occasionally coming into frame with this particular camera adjustment. Again, not narrating the snake at all at this point, as was planned. Standing on a footstool there. Okay, it took a little bit of prompting, but he did it. That was kind of cool. I was a little bit concerned. He was pushing that. He's really strong. He was pushing that ladder out, which all the snakes can do, but I was kind of afraid that he was going to let it slam and he would pinch himself. So I prompted him to get his tail out of the from behind the ladder. Great job, mister. You ready to go back? Okay, on to the head-to-head. Now, we're going to start with the Sundance Kid, which is the least climby of the 3 species. A ball python is probably the least climby, but he is a good contender for this because he's of a good size for this. He's a little bit smaller than the inspector, and he's athletic. So I think he'll do okay. So we're going to have him try to climb the ladder, a net, and 2 different types of rope. I'm going to have future Bob narrate this because, as you might guess, as past Bob, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I feel like I'm present day Bob right now, but when you watch this, then I'll be past Bob. That's why. That's what it is. I get the time travel stuff really mixed up in my head, you guys. Hey folks, future Bob here. Let's get into it. Okay, Sundance Kid. I'm not sure if he's been on the ladder before. I don't think he has. But he kind of does what I expect him to do. He's sort of doing that thing where he goes behind the rungs. But then he grabs the cliff, which is a good idea. That's just a Mag Naturals cliff, and he's not... he's too heavy for it, so I'm stabilizing it there. He would just pull it right off. And there he fell. That's why I spot ball pythons. He may have saved himself with his tail there, but who knows? He also may not have. So here he is on the net. What I wanted him to do was try to climb up the net, but he just used it to get back on the ladder. And he actually ended up having a better run on the ladder than the first try, so I just kept recording this. I have had ball pythons climb up that net though before. He just didn't do it. But look at this. He's using all the little things, little ways to get up. This is the top rung of the ladder. That ledge is at the very top. So he did a good job. Little climber. Now here he is on the rope. He did better than I expected. I did not expect a ball python to even hang on to the rope like this. He's not doing great at climbing it, but he's able to hang on at least. And then this is the other rope that I did. Because I didn't think the ball pythons would be able to even hang on to that other one, I just tied knots in a rope to give them some holds. He seems to be climbing pretty well, but this is sped up 300%, so he's actually just trying to hang on. He's just trying to get a grip. I feel like the goal for him was just to hang on rather than climb up it. He wasn't as concerned about getting high in that. He just wanted to hang on for dear life. I think branches would have helped. Ball pythons are prone to falling. So even though many of them like to climb, and it's probably good exercise for them to do that, and they'll tend to do it, they're not very good at staying climbed. So what that means is that you don't want to have an enclosure for them that's like 6 feet high with a giant tree in there, because they could really fall and hurt themselves. With the inspector's enclosure, he climbs all over that. He gets to the top and climbs around and everything. But if he falls, he's not falling from a big height, and he's also falling onto very soft substrate, so he won't hurt himself. Okay, now let's go to the other end of the spectrum and look at the climbiest of my snakes. If you watch this channel, you've probably seen my superdwarf reticulated pythons climb. They're very good at it. I can guarantee you they'll be able to climb everything that we throw at them, but they climb very differently. Okay, here's Stella, and this looks sped up, but it's not. This is her real-time speed, at least in this clip. She knows this ladder, and she's really good. She knows where things are and such like that. However, there isn't anything hanging in front of the ladder right now, and that's what she's looking for. She kept getting up to the next rung and then looking for the net hanging in front, or a ball or something. You know, I'm always hanging things from the ceiling in front of that ladder. And there she is at the top. That didn't take her long at all. This one is sped up, I think. I maybe doubled the speed on this one because she was a little slow getting across it. But she knows this net pretty well. And she does this thing where Echo doesn't ever do this, but Stella does. She crawls across the top like this, and then she'll stop and just sit there on those little thin ropes, just kind of relaxing. Now here, I brought her outside and put her on the rope, and a little bit of wind picked up, and she wouldn't climb, which is so crazy. Her grandparents are from the windswept island of Kalatoa. You would think that a little summer breeze wouldn't stop her in her tracks, but it did. So let's do everything you want to do, Stella. I brought her back inside, and then she was willing to climb the rope. Now, this is really interesting, the way the reticulated pythons climb. And this is also, carpet pythons will climb like this, and green tree pythons probably, although I haven't seen it. Perfectly symmetrical climbing, but every time they reach up, they go to a different side. So it's either right side, left side, right side, left side, and then perfect symmetrical coils, and then wrapping their tail around to secure them. It's really interesting. So you can back that up and see that again, back and forth, back and forth. Now, when I put her on the other rope that has knots in it, she doesn't do it perfectly symmetrical. Like here, I think she went to the left twice in a row, and then she goes kind of symmetrically, but the knots mess her up a little bit. But obviously, I mean, this wouldn't pose any problem for her to climb. These snakes are good at climbing, and they're good at staying climbed. They're not going to fall very easily at all, and it's sometimes really hard to get them off that ladder. Before we get to the very interesting way that my black-headed python climbs, let's find out what's happening in Kent's Corner. Welcome Welcome to Kent's Corner, where two sides of the house always meet. Speaking of which, I'm going to show you how to climb the side of a house. Basically, you put one foot on the wall, and then your other foot, and then, right, I don't have the right shoes for it right now, but basically you just do that and you climb to the roof. These are tree climbing shoes. I'll show you how to climb a tree. You just deftly use your strength and agility to get up the tree. We don't have a lot of time for it right now, but you know what we do have time for is climbing a fence. I'll show you how to climb a fence. All you're gonna do is shimmy up the fence. You can use a footstool if you want, and then you just shimmy up the fence. No problem. And now I'm definitely on the other side of the fence. That's all there is to it. Thank you for watching Kent's Corner, where athletics are always number one. Really impressive athleticism, Kent. You know, there's been a lot of speculation on the internet as to who is or is not involved in the secret society known as the Horde of Keepers. Are the Kennedys lifetime members? What about D.B. Cooper? Is he involved somehow? All I can tell you is that written on these boards is a complete list of the Horde of Keepers, and they are helping out my channel immensely, and I really appreciate them. If you want to look into becoming a part of this awesome community / clandestine gathering, just pop on over to patreon.com / greenroompythons. And then whatever you see over there, just keep it under your hat, please. Thanks. Okay, now on to Maya, my black-headed python. Now, if Maya lived in the wild, she would be likely sleeping in burrows that she dug herself with her cute face, and she would be traveling up to 3/4 of a mile a day searching for food. Now, when I think about that, I tend to think of a black-headed python slithering across the sort of red sand of the Australian outback. But a lot of people say that they climb quite a bit as well. And these snakes are like ball pythons in that they are not arboreal, they are not even semi-arboreal. They don't live in trees, they don't live up high. But as you'll see, they are very good climbers. I've got Maya in real time here. She is using opposing force on her body to get up those doors as though they were a rocky crag, rather than using the rungs of the ladder or anything else. And this is how she climbs more often than not. Even when on the ladder like this, she's using opposing force with the rungs on her back, kind of like the ball pythons do occasionally. Rungs on her back and the front of the thing on her belly, and then she always ends up getting to the top and crawls across the top of this thing. I always watch her because she's constantly moving. She a lot of times will just go back and forth across the top of those doors, but she could get lost at some point. Here she is, tied herself in a knot on this net. She's climbed the net before, kind of like you saw Stella do, but it's rare that she does that. She kind of doesn't know what to do with it, and here she just found a more stable situation to get herself onto that little hammock that's on the ladder. Now on the rope here, I kind of expected this. I don't think she has any motivation to climb the rope. So, you know, she's just kind of hanging on to it and determining whether she wants to go up or down or onto my arm or whatever. Same with this thing. She just doesn't really, she just kind of hangs on to it. I don't think there's a reason for her to go up really. And I think she'd rather get to the ground. This is not a natural thing for her to climb on, I don't think, in the wild. So it's very foreign to her. So she's just going to tie herself into a pretzel. So I just let her get to the ground. She likes to crawl across the concrete. If I had a vertical rocky thing sitting on the concrete, I think she'd probably try to go right up it. I just don't think she understands what to do with those ropes. It's just not a natural thing for her to climb in the wild. But look at her slithering. She's so cool. Bye, Maya. If you have a snake, it's probably a good idea to let them climb something within their ability. You know, it's a good workout. It's good for their abs. Give them rock hard abs like mine. No, it's not. Not really. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. I lift up my shirt, you can see my rock hard abs. Oh, it's out of frame. It's out of frame. Shoot. Well, trust me.